Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. It's so good to see you guys. We are so excited to be with you. I am here with my good friend Donna, and she is backstage hanging out. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm so grateful for her. I kind of pressing buttons over here and brought her on much earlier than I intended. Sorry about that, sis. But anyway, y'all, I am excited to be here. I'm so excited about what we have planned. Our topic for today: navigating new seasons. This is a new season. Oh my goodness. I'm remembering that song New Season by let's see, Israel Holton, and the song is, it just says it's a new season, it's a new day, a fresh anointing is coming our way. And I am so grateful because what better way to enter into a new season than with someone who can handle that new season. So I'm excited because my sis Donna is here and we're going to be having a conversation. But before we come on, you guys, I want you to put in the comments, where are you watching from? Tell me about where you're watching from. Tell me your name, your city and state. Your name is going to pop up. So tell me your city and state, where you're watching from. And if you are in a new season, what kind of new thing are you in right now? You know, what's going on in your life? We want to know in the comments. And please, please, please share this, tag someone. This conversation is going to be just what you need. So I see the comments are already active. Hey, sis, Erica is watching. We got to get you back on the show, sis. Thank you so much for being here. We have some good juice coming up. So listen, put in the comments. Tell me about what's going on with you. You got a new opportunity, new job, new relationship, new, whatever's happening. Put it in the comments so we can talk about it. All right, y'all. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my sis. Donna is here backstage. Hey, sister. Let's see. Am I, girl?
How are you?
It is time for an engineer, okay?
Yes.
It's time for an engineer because StreamYard, I love StreamYard, but when I say they have upgraded, it's like you're trying to host and press and host
Wow.
and press. It's like, ooh. All right. So we've got somebody from Whiteville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey,
Good to
Lika.
see you. Thanks for joining us. So, sis, oh my goodness.
Yes.
It's been a minute. It's
Yes, it
been a minute.
has.
In a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ways, you know, we just caught up again a couple days ago,
Yes.
in real life, and then now we're catching up online with all the people, and we are talking about navigating new seasons. And
Yes.
you know, I really wanted to have this conversation with you because I know that you've had so many new things, so many transitions,
Mm-hmm.
um, new roles, new job, new changes in your business that you've had to kind of adjust to with your
Mm-hmm.
personal business, your influencer business, your hair care business. I mean, and the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, you know, a lot of us, we go through transitions, and some transitions we don't really ask for, you know.
Right. Right.
Sometimes we are in seasons that we did not plan for or plan, hope that it would happen, but because it's here, we have to learn how to navigate that place. So
Mm-hmm.
tell the audience who has not met you before, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's just dive in. I mean, what are some of the new things that you've been experiencing lately?
Sure. Well, for those of you who do not know, I am Donna Moody. I'm a content creator. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of three. I'm an assistant principal. I am the owner of Donna K Naturals. I love being able to speak and pour into women. I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. So I'm a little bit here and there. And hopefully tonight, by the end of our discussion, you'll get to be able to see a little bit of everything.
I love that. So, with everything that you've had going on lately, sis, like what are some of the twists and turns that you've recently had to navigate in your personal life and your business. Let's just kind of open up the can of worms now, you know.
Okay. Well, starting off, even with we'll start off with personal. We'll start
Mhm.
there first. Um, Personal life can be definitely a navigating season because uh, whenever you're going through the process of anything, we don't
Mhm.
want to go through the process, right? We,
Mm,
you know, we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what it's going to sound like. We don't know what it's going to feel like. And
mhm,
so whenever we get challenged to move out of that comfort zone, everything becomes a little shaky. Our faith starts wavering,
mhm,
just depending on what season you are in your life.
mhm,
You're really tested and really understand, am I really really trusting God to the fullest, or am I trusting God because everything is good right now?
mm,
When things are flowing, you're easy to move around and navigate. You're happy, right? But
mhm,
soon as a twist and turn comes,
mm,
everything, are you
mhm.
going to be able to still trust God? Are you going to still serve? Are you going to still remain, happy? All of those things
That,
play a component. Yeah, yeah, because sometimes our mood swings can determine where we are too in our seasons.
ooh, that's good, sis.
Mm-hmm.
That's good
Mm-hmm.
right there.
So, you can be happy and glitz and glam, but also there's a flip side to that. You can be
Mm,
angry, you can be bitter, you could be envy and jealous. Not saying that me, I'm just throwing it out there for whoever needs it tonight. But
mhm,
you could be in whatever season because you're not moving. We always say, oh, when I get into this quiet place, I'm going to trust God. Well,
mm,
sometimes in the quiet place, when you don't hear anything and you're still, you feel like
mhm,
God hasn't heard you. So
mhm,
then you start asking questions like, okay, God, where are you? I'm serving, I'm trusting, I'm believing, I'm sowing, I'm tithing, I'm doing all of the things I'm supposed to do, and I
mhm,
still don't see anything. I don't hear anything.
mm,
Your friends may fall off. There's seasons of that. There's seasons where you carry people. There's
mm,
seasons where you drop people off. There's seasons where people start to come into your life. And, personally, there are seasons where you have to, how can I put this? And maybe some of you guys can relate. There are some seasons when God has revealed some information to you and
mm,
you have to smile through it. It you can have we were just in church. I'm telling you, you can have people around you that could be envy, could be jealous, could be bitter, could be happy, could be sad, you know um non-supportive people who support. There's so many things to juggle when you start building relationships with people. And
mhm,
sometimes when people see you go to certain levels, it
mhm,
may be intimidating, and
mm,
now they feel like you're competing, or maybe they feel like you're not appreciating them. And so you can be in different seasons, but the one thing that I'm learning is to still trust God through that,
mhm,
and to still believe and to still, continue to move. And so, yeah, that's one of the hardest things to do, is to still
yes.
smile and to still serve and to still love when you know things. And so that's where I'm just like, God, and I said this morning, I was telling one of my closest friends, I was telling her, I said, I asked God this morning, I said, God, forgive those people who wronged me, that
Mm,
had those conversations about me, that said
mhm,
those things about me, and forgive me when I've done it as well. Because
yeah,
we've all had a season where we probably done said some things out of, frustration, out of aggravation, just upset, just
mhm,
mad, so we all have different seasons of where we have to navigate, but that process is where we're going to develop, and that's where we're going
right.
to grow.
Right, right. That is so true, sis. You said so much already, just talking about, how we basically how we go through,
Right.
how we go through. That's so important
Mhm.
because that matters just as much as getting to the destination. Sometimes we want to get to the destination so bad
Ooh, yes, we
that
do.
that we don't assess, well, how am I going through the process? What does my character, what does my attitude, what does my
Hmm.
diligence, my
All of that.
consistency, what does all of
Hmm.
that look like even in the process of
The
me getting to
process.
where I want to be. And I think that with every new season comes a new level of how we handle that new thing, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that we oftentimes forget that because, we think about, oh, I'm ready for a new promotion. I'm ready for, well, when you get that new promotion, you're going to have to deal with some things that you didn't deal with on the level that you were on.
Mhm.
So we have a
Absolutely.
whole different requirement as to
Mhm.
how we handle the new thing, the new promotion, the new
Mhm.
opportunity. And so I feel, sis, that like current seasons, old seasons, whatever, it's preparing us
Oh,
for,
absolutely.
for the new thing. And so
Mhm.
how we handle where we are is just
Mhm.
detrimental to how successful we are in the new thing.
In
Will
the
we
new
be
thing.
able to, will we last? So I love that. I love that. And then what you were talking about as it relates to like people and having situations with people, I think how we deal with conflict is important. And I love,
Mhm.
how you said, you've had some seasons where, or some situations to where you couldn't really respond, you couldn't say anything
Mhm.
because that's not what God led you to do. And
Mhm.
so you had to have maturity and obedience and character to be able to process what you saw and process what you heard, but not allow it to affect how you are and how you roll. Speak on that
Mhm.
just a little bit more for the people.
Yeah, but that's a place I think where it's gonna hit home for a lot of people. I'll say that.
Mhm.
And it's not an easy place to be in,
Mm,
right? And so, as you said, when it enter into your ear gates, anything you allow to enter into your ear now becomes in your heart, your spirit. Then you think on it, then you act on it. It affects you. And so, because again, that's access. And that
mhm,
sometimes we give that to people who don't deserve it. And so
mm,
when we open ourselves up to that realm, that's when we're able to experience those things. But as you were talking about the process, nobody likes the process.
mhm,
Nobody wants to go through. Nobody wants to feel hurt. Nobody wants to feel neglected. Nobody wants to feel sad. Nobody wants that. Nobody signs up for that. Nobody say, hey, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, sign me
mhm,
up for that. Yeah, I got it. Throw me another load. Nobody wants to go through that process. But
mhm,
again, as you were stating, it helps you for the next level. It helps you in relationships. It helps you for promotion. It helps you with all of those things. And
mhm,
I feel like if you don't go through that, you're never going to be ready,
mm,
right? You're never going to be ready. You never know how to pull somebody out. You never know how to act. You
mm,
never know how to stand grounded, because the higher you go, the more warfare, right? And
mhm,
so we don't know who God is going to allow us to cross path with, in whatever season of our life. And we have to be equipped, to be able to open our mouth and speak and not fall out and
mhm,
crash out and cry. And, so it really is a season of development, and
mhm,
that's going to develop you in every way. Even the
mm,
way you speak, how you think, how you reason, how you act, your character, all of that plays a part. And so you want to make sure that you're in right standing with God. You want to make sure that you're doing what God asked of you to do. And I know people say, how many times do I gotta forgive? How many times do I? But I didn't do this, and I'm the bigger person. Yeah, and so you can ask God all day long, and the word is gonna be the word.
mhm.
you know Go ahead
Come
and get
on.
over it. As my friend always say, you're gonna be all right when that swelling go down. But you know what? When
I
it
love
goes
it.
down, you're gonna be all right. And so it just helps you to be able to handle people properly, and to handle people
Mm,
for different seasons of your life, you know? And so that's a good thing. So if it happens, dust yourself off. It's okay, because it's gonna work for your good later. And so I'll tell that to anybody that's watching tonight. If that is where you are, hey, it's gonna be all right. Just go ahead and go through the process. Go ahead and just waver it right on out, because in the end, everything is gonna be just fine. And
I
you'll
love
look back and say, you know what, God, I thank you for that. I thank you for building me up in your most holy faith. I thank you for allowing me to experience this because now I need this for this level. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you were talking about personal, I've gone from, being assistant to teaching to assistant principal. And, many may not have been excited about it, warfare immediately started, right? But my thing is, I'm doing this with God. And if God gives this to me, I'm not worried about anything else. I don't have to prove anything because the Lord gave it to me to handle. And so I do the best that I can do. And what I don't know, I ask, I consult, and I'm definitely praying. And so with that, in due season, I'm just kind of fast forwarding it. God will allow people to come into your path that will speak highly of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whenever you're able to carry yourself in a place of integrity,
Mm-hmm.
in a place where people, you haven't been bashing people out. And so all of that makes a difference when people can come back and say, you know what, this is who this person is. No, this person is right for this position and this job, and she's capable and she's willing and it's deserving for her. And you don't even have to open up your mouth. So the seasons that we're in, God is going to allow people to speak on your behalf. You're not even going to have to worry about, you don't have to defend yourself. Just be who you are. Now, see, in that process moment, that could be the moment when you want to fall out and say some things to people that you can never take back, and act up and all this, and then people just observing and watching. So when the opportunity comes and the promotion presents itself, whenever you have carried yourself in that manner, you
Mm.
see what happens. But
Ooh.
the process of going through and standing tall and don't waver, it helps you out in the end. It blesses you in the end. It elevates you in the end, right? So I'm telling you, you just got to trust that process. It's not going to always be easy, but you just still got to be trustful in it.
Girl, I'm trying to find an organ. Let me find something.
I'm not with you tonight.
I don't have an organ, but I need something.
I'm not with you tonight. I'm not.
Listen, that was so powerful and so real. Oh my
Oh,
goodness,
absolutely.
you're so right. How we go through and how we handle now is
Hmm.
what allows us to go to the next level. We
Absolutely.
really have to make sure, because what I'm hearing from all that you said is you don't know who's watching you.
You
You
don't.
never know. And sometimes your flesh can have you thinking that the whole office don't like you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Your flesh can have you
Hmm.
thinking that the whole office somewhere, or the whole group, or the whole committee, or the whole whatever is against you, when
Hmm.
really it could be one that's like,
Hmm.
no, she's
Just
she's
one.
consistent. She's consistent.
Hmm.
And we got her,
That's
so
right.
it's
Hmm.
somebody's laughing at my sound. Pressing buttons, Jessica, just pressing buttons and excited. But I just think that it's so important that we keep our flesh under subjection, as the scripture says, in
Hmm.
every season. We,
Hmm.
like the scripture says, in every season give thanks. That right
Every
there
season.
sums up what you just said, because
Yes.
if I'm thanking God for where I am now and all that comes with it, I'm gonna
Hmm.
be good with where He's
Good.
taking me. You
That's
know,
right.
but another thing that came to me when you were talking was how there is a level of pruning in every season. There is a
Hmm.
level of shaping and making and molding and even shedding away that God
Yes.
does to help us to be who He wants us to be, so that as we carry out the assignment that He has for us, we are fully capable. We're not haughty. We're not looking at people upside their head like, I got this. This is me. I'm
Hmm.
doing. No, we
Hmm.
understand that if only you knew what I went through in
Come
the last
on.
season that
Come
I just
on.
came out of. This nobody but God brought me
God.
to where I am now.
Exactly. That's
But that
exactly right.
takes a level of submission to his will, submission to his process, submission to the fact that I'm in your hands, I'm in your
Mhm.
care, you got me,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
being so in tune with his ear that it doesn't matter what happens around me. I'm steadfast, I'm unmovable, I'm abounding in what I'm called to do, I'm abounding in the work of the Lord.
Mhm.
So sis, we about ready to run. We about ready. We about ready.
Mm. Listen, you
to
said
go.
something really good too about the pruning season. You know that the I call it the onion season because onion has many layers, right?
Mhm.
And so whenever you start shredding and taking away some things, that could be circle of friends, that could be
Mm.
family, that could be when you start taking away some things, and you talk about a place, a quiet place that you will enter, because you'll fall out. You'll be like, no, no, Lord, but she, she my bestie,
Mhm.
and God is saying, okay,
Mm.
okay, but right now where I need you to go, bestie can't, because bestie's not ready, and sometimes we carry people in the seasons at the wrong time. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that relationships are, you got to break. Some you do have to break away, but some maybe God is saying, hey, you can get them later when I finish with them. Because if you take
Mm.
them now, because they're not healed in this area, they're going to bring that in your season. And then because you're going to be so focused on that, you're going to miss everything that I have for you over here. And so sometimes you have to cut people off and you have to cut things off just for a season or sometimes a lifetime because everybody can't go everywhere. And so that could be, you can go, now you will cry on that season now. That's a hard season right there. You will cry. You'll be like, because you don't want to, everybody, when everybody has who they talk to, who they hang with, who they click with, who they mesh with, who they like to go shopping with, and eat, people have that certain amount of people and groups that they like to confide to. And whenever it's broken, whenever you have to separate, you just be like, God, this ain't it. And God saying, it is.
But
It is.
let me say this with that, because sometimes I think we forget what God, the provision that God has made, because there may be someone that's not fully aligned with where we are and where we're headed, but I guarantee
Hmm.
you it's a strong possibility that there is someone else that we don't talk to all the time. Look, let me point at myself,
Yes.
Donna. Let me stop.
Right,
No,
right.
but seriously, sometimes
Hmm.
because of our own attachments and our own
Hmm.
familiarity, even though sis, when we talk, it's right on time, and we
Hmm.
make up for lost time.
We
But
do.
at the same time, I think just in our daily lives, we have to fully come up in our, the
Hmm.
old saints would say, come up in your mind. We
Hmm.
have to fully come up to that place of saying, okay, these are the types of connections that I need to have. These are the types of, and it's not that someone's better than the other one. It's
Hmm.
just what's really edifying you, what's really building you up, what conversations, what types of people are really building you up. And it's not that you don't want to have someone where you talk about nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want to
Hmm.
always talk about business or always talk about ministry or the Bible. You want to have someone say, girl, let me go, and get me a Starbucks drink. What you doing today? So you
Right.
want to
Hmm.
have companionship, but at the
Yes.
same time, we can't be so boxed into what's familiar and what feels comfortable that we
Hmm.
can embrace new things,
That's
new
exactly right.
seasons, new people, new connections, new relationships.
Hmm.
So that's important as well.
Absolutely. Because listen, if we never took that opportunity, we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
We went right through online and chatting and doing all that stuff, and then finally we was like, "Hey, wait, what are we doing? We
Mhm.
going? Let's go eat." That's the
Yeah.
common goal. Let's go eat. Let's go,
And it
and
wasn't,
from
let
that.
me
Hmm.
correct you, because it was, let me come support you at your event.
Yeah, okay.
Then that was you.
Then we went.
That
Yes,
was you, sis.
yes,
You were
yes.
like, oh, I'm coming. Where are you going to be? And I'm like,
Hmm.
I'll be here, set up. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm coming to support you. Sis came, supported, bought some items from my table. Then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, let's go eat. Let's go do
Yes.
something.
That is
You
exactly
know?
right. Yeah. So there you go. Support. So again, that plays with when you venture outside of, because we never met, I
Mhm,
wasn't always, I wasn't in your circle. And
mhm.
so again, that's why that took place. But the common goal was the support. So God will always send people who you think not to come into your life to be a blessing to you in many ways, not just for, buying the products, but, we've had many prayer lunches, you know, we've had time where we
Prayer
like, okay,
breakfasts,
we on
prayer
this
brunch.
calendar. Yeah, we on the calendar at 12. You got 12 open. I'm open at 12. You open at 12. All right, we'll talk at 12. We had to make that time. So,
And we were praying together in the mornings before work, on the way
yep.
to work.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
have we have hung tight, but I'm thinking also, sis, when I had to be open because
Hmm.
when you reached out to me, you had all these hundreds of thousands of followers. And yes, I was on news. I was on
News.
TV, but I'm
Hmm.
looking at this girl is famous, and ain't no way but I had to be, like open, like, okay. And then the fact that you came and it wasn't you came to support, you know what I mean? And so it
Hmm.
was like you came and purchased items. So that says a whole lot about, who you are. But I think that again, we have to make sure that we're just in the seasons in every area of our life being open-minded, you know,
Absolutely.
and being willing to go with God, to go with
Mhm.
what He's doing, and to believe that He has His best for us.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we second guess what God really has for us as it relates to the quality of our relationships, our
Mhm.
quality of life, our career. We don't really tap in and believe completely that
Mm.
God really does have greatness for me. So I can
Absolutely.
move into the direction of greatness. I can already be great. I can
Mhm.
already carry myself great because
Mhm.
that's what God has for me. And so we don't have to settle for things that don't serve what God is saying about us and who He says we are. We don't have to settle for jealousy and envy and strife
Mm-mm.
and competition and people wanting to be contentious and always it's always something, always a problem. We don't have to settle for that
That's
because
right.
that's not who God says that we are. We
Mm-mm.
can live a fruitful and an abundant life and a peaceful life
Absolutely.
because that's who God has said we are. But also when you were speaking, and you were talking about how sometimes we have to cut people off or what have you. And I'm saying that more so to say even how we do that is important
Oh, absolutely.
because the scripture says follow peace with all men.
Mhm.
So maybe back in the day when we were kids or whatever, don't call me no more. I don't want to talk to you,
Mhm.
But now it's I love you. And I may not even have to say, hey, we're not going to talk
Yeah.
every day, but I'm carrying myself accordingly. Like,
Right.
hey, I
Right.
love you. It's good to hear from you. But
Mhm.
it is what it
Mhm.
is. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Still
I,
showing love.
yes,
Mhm.
still
That's what it's
showing.
about. That's growth, though.
Mhm,
That's when you know that through the process you develop that growth stage, because it takes a lot to be able to still show love and to still be able to speak and greet others when you've been hurt, when you've been abused, when you've gone through all of those emotions when it comes to that person. So whenever you can still go to them and not feel anything, then that's when you've been truly healed from that. And so
mhm,
that's important because, like you said, you don't want anybody to be walking around feeling some type of way. And we all come to the and we may be that person, we may do it to somebody else as well, but again, it's a soul. So sometimes it's just like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that this soul you know can be released from all of that and don't be walking around bound, but at the
mhm,
same time, that access denied. It's still gonna be I love you, how you doing, God bless you. You ain't even got to be all that, but
Right.
but at the same time, it's not gonna be intimate conversations. these
Mhm.
are my these are my goals in life. This is what I got going. This is what the Lord told me. Can you pray
Mm-mm.
with me? Can can you speak and decree? Mm-mm. The access point is, you can't allow everybody here.
Mhm.
You can have people here, but the people here are the people that are for you. Those are the people that pray with you. Those are the people that support you. Those are the people that are in line with your vision or going to help you do something. Even when you have a moment where you be like, I don't got any money in the bank. Then you got sister over here saying, and that's fine, sis. Because if I got $50, hey, I'm gonna give you 25. I'm gonna take 25 and we're gonna figure this out. Or
Yes.
hey, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna do something. And you have that moment of you being able to be um vulnerable. That's a good play. That's a good word to use. And you can be yourself. And so anytime you got to come makeup, we put makeup on, yes, to look to beautify, edify. But the spirit part of it all is whenever you can be yourself with that person and
Mhm.
still be able to feel that support, that love, and in a genuine relationship, that's more than anything. That's more than
Mhm.
money right there, you know? And so you have to have those people that are going to be in line to help push you to that next thing. Like, okay, chin up. You're gonna be all right. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna pray this thing. Devil, you are a lie. You're not gonna get on my sister today. You're not gonna be in her atmosphere. You're not even about to get in her ear gates with that stuff. She is not her day is gonna be well in Jesus' name. You
Mm.
know, I was just thinking that just reminded me. One of my friends that are on here right now, she's like, oh sis, I'll be on tonight. Oh, don't even worry, because I'm already praying for you. Be praying for you already before you get on there. So if I'm talking to you, know I'm already praying for you. You gotta have people like that.
That's right.
You gotta have people like that you be like, hey, if I got one or two, that's all. You don't need a bunch. You don't need 17, 15, 40, 50. Get you good two, three, four, and you're good, but you gotta have those people that are gonna pour, and then that gives you the ability to be able to pour too. So it's just like a give
Mhm.
and take. And so you don't want to be in a take situation, because that could be drainful. So those friendships are important.
Yes, girl. So we've talked about the
So
personal.
much.
We've talked about, yes. We've talked about the personal. We've talked about relationships and things, but let's shift gears to business. I
Mm,
want to know, I know that as your friend, you've expressed like, different things. You're an influencer. You have over 600,000 followers just on one page,
mm,
so you have
mhm.
several hundreds of thousands of followers, and you have a natural hair care brand, and you are an author, yes, and so many
Yes.
other things. So, what has God been speaking to you though about this season? Because I know that you've been experiencing a lot of shifts and
Mhm.
you are considering pivoting. Like, what has God been saying with that?
Businesses, it's definitely a faith walk, right?
Mhm.
You start, you stop. You start, you stop.
Mhm.
Finances go up, finances go down. And so now I am back into, even my husband gets on me a lot about it, but I'm like, okay, God, let me try this one more time. Because sometimes we can get busy doing other things. We'll put the one thing that God placed
Mm.
in our hands to the side. And then
Mhm.
we'll put our trust in the other things because it's flowing, it's easy, it's
Mm.
making money, and we neglect. And so
Mhm.
when you neglect and you don't put in, then everything just kind of falls apart. So now in this season, I'm just like, okay, I need to stay consistent and do what I'm supposed to do. So now it's just like God always does. When we go down the wrong path, He turns us right back around
Mhm.
and say, go back. And so now this is just a season of go back and
Mhm.
try it again. And that means I'm even looking at even rebranding if I have to. Because sometimes when you start something, you're so intentional. We talked about this. You want everything to look so perfect, and you worry about a label and a sticker and how it feels and what it looks like and if it's cut right. And people don't be worried about all that. They just want what's inside, and that can
Mhm.
go for the product as well as yourself. Right?
Mhm.
That's a whole other thing because again, you can try to do all of this, but what God placed inside of you, you can't make it up, and that's literally in the mind and physically with me. You can't make it up. And so with the business, it's the same thing. And so I don't know if whoever's watching tonight is in the same season, but this is a season of just go back and do it again. We don't have to put that pressure of saying, I should be much further. I should have made this by now. My business should have been okay. Maybe it should have. But now look at all the lessons that I've learned. I've learned the do's and the don'ts. I've learned what makes money, what doesn't make money. I've learned not what to order, what not to order. I've learned what works in this mixture, in this recipe that doesn't. So I'm in a season of a learning process. So I'm able to take the do's and the don'ts and mix it, and come up with what God wants me to do now. And so I'm slowly easing myself right back up in there where I supposed to be, and and get back to where, I first started. Well, all of this came from hair, and everything else was just like an umbrella. And
Mhm.
so, even if you have a business, if you're watching, you have a small business. I don't, let me take that back. It's not a small business. I don't even like saying small businesses anymore because we already put a cap on what we say God is going to do, and it's not small. You can start off, but your business will never be small, right? And so, if you're in a season of that, just go back, and it's okay. If you got 2, 3 followers, 10 followers, 100 followers, you work what you have, and when God sees that you're consistent over it, He'll continue to bless you and continue to open up more doors, and bring the revenue right on in. So yeah, this is a season to go back and let the net down one more time. Go
I
back.
love it. I love it, sis. That is good because it is so important to revisit, and sometimes, honestly, after we have clouded ourselves and overwhelmed ourselves with all
Hmm.
the things that we want to do because it's trending and and we want to do this because it's moving, it's working, then we have to almost get back to a place of prayer and a place of stillness where we can say, Lord, what was it again?
Yeah.
What was it again?
Yeah.
What was that? So he can bring us back to what I this is what I said.
Hmm.
I know you got distracted and sidetracked or even, inspired, or what have you, but this is who you are. And I
Yeah.
feel that we all have to connect with who God says we are, in
Absolutely.
whatever industry we serve. So if you are a motivator, if you are a restorer, one of my sisters on here, and she is I feel Brittany, she's a restorer. She restores people. She brings them back to, so
Hmm.
you have to know, you got to be stay connected to your truest self, no matter
Hmm.
all the other things that we do to survive and to just do what we, to live. We have to always be connected to the main thing because that's where the wealth is. I
That's
was
exactly what I
I
said.
was driving one day and I was like, Lord, I don't know about this. And I was talking to him about a specific venture, and I was like, I don't know about this, blah blah blah. I was like, what is it? What is this? And the Holy Spirit says, because where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. You know,
Mm.
so your heart ain't in it. That's why you ain't got no treasure. That's why ain't nothing happening.
Wow.
Cause this is not it. This ain't it, we've got to be connected to that
Mhm.
thing. We've got to be connected to that. And
You
so,
just, oh, mm. I
yes,
was just gonna say, you just said a lot because where we are now, in our ministry, this is the season of alignment. And so everything that you're saying, you have to make sure that it aligns with God's word and what he's saying about your life right now in this season. And so you have to just be careful about where you are, who you connect to, and what you're doing. Because if it's not in alignment, it's not going to work. And it's going to put you right back on the same path of where you're supposed to be in the beginning until you get it right. And so we'll, like you said, we'll go round and around and we'll pivot and we'll do these little extra stops until trying to do the quick, easy, fast thing. But
Mm,
we until we get back in alignment and do what God says, none of those things are going to remain, right? But we know that when God gives it, it's gonna always last forever.
mhm.
Unless until he's ready to do something greater. It will
Right,
never be taken away. His word will never return void. He will always bless us and give us exceedingly abundantly above all, and so we have to fully trust him in that. So
right.
yeah.
Right. Well, I know, sis, that not only have you had some shifts in your personal, as far as relationships, your job,
Hmm.
and your career, but are you an empty nester now?
Yeah, just a little bit, but
Just a little
yes,
bit.
yeah, just a
But for the
little
most
bit.
part, I know
Yes,
your only daughter has now gone off to college,
yes.
and you are a wife, so
Hmm.
what has this season, as it relates to you being a mother and a wife, this new season and transitions in that, how has that been for you? And what are some practices that you've had to kind of put in motion to deal with this?
Well, it's a good place. Anybody that has ever been in this place of just, being able to take advantage to spend time with your boo, you know,
Mhm.
it's always a good place. It's also a place where you have to really fully trust God. Sometimes when you're close, really close to your children, and you've been mother hen for so long, and when they go out, the world is just, we know what the world is doing, right? And so, just taking your prayers to another level, making sure that you're instilling what needs to be in them, and making sure that you're, giving them the pointers and the tips and the things of that nature. And, being able to fully, get out and venture out and do more. It's just really been a blessing. We've everybody's, girl, I can't wait, 18, honey. But sometimes, honey, you be crying, you be like, no, I want to take my baby to school, I want to, and it's always, but I think now I'm to a place now I can drop her off and I'm okay. And, it's even with our relationship, I love our relationship, with all my kids. But my last one is just like, she be like, Mom, you're my bestie. And, we can just sit and we can talk. And, I really truly think that that time of her, just seeing her grow into a young lady, and it's just really been a blessing. So I think it's a great place. I think it's gonna, even this space and time, is the opportunity for God to really, open the doors and expand, and I'm able to be able to, enlarge, when he enlarged the territories, I'll be able to go and not have to be like, okay, I gotta run to school, we gotta go to a game, we gotta go to the practice, we got, so now it's just like a woosah moment, and now I can focus on me, and then me and my husband can focus on us, and so it's a good place to be in.
I love that. Well, we only have a few minutes left. Thank you all so much for being in the comments. They've been commenting down, sis. I
Oh,
mean, they showed up for us. So if you have any comments or questions, you can drop them in the
yes.
comments. We would love to hear from you. So,
Hmm.
as we are winding down, what are some new things that you are planning to kind of embark upon? What are some new things you have in mind? Talking to you, sis.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I was waiting to see what the comments said. Some new
Yes.
things that I have in mind. Well, I guess I could kind of say
You
I've
can,
been working.
however you feel led.
Okay, so I'm working on something with my sister.
Yes.
Um, that is long overdue,
Yes.
and we're about to launch that really really soon. I don't want to give too much information until it's actually completed, because I know if you speak sometime, before, uh prematurely,
Right.
I know the enemy gets mad, because I feel like what I'm working on is going to be a blessing
Mhm.
to anyone who takes the time to go through and read and
Mhm.
participate and things of that nature. So I'm truly excited about that. I'm truly excited about. I really want to start adding another product. I'm looking into doing that as well, to the line. I eventually want to have about 4 products, so that's something that I want to do. Is that at least have like a 4 product line like I had before, and which is going to be great because now I can do it myself. And sometimes it's a great thing. So as we said before, I'm really looking to getting in the kitchen and doing that, because it's a really good thing when you can say you created and you made it
Mhm.
versus putting the trust in someone else's hand.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I think I'll stop there. I don't want to get too much, but I just got a lot of things on the shelf, and I think that, this is the season now that it's gonna come off. We
Yeah.
put things away and tuck it away for different seasons, and this is the season now where I'm gonna take it off the shelf and get busy.
Right, right. Well, I'm looking forward. I'm ready to see you speaking more. I want to
Yes.
hear from my sis. Yes, I do. So I'm looking, look, I'm gonna be booking you on here with our faithful few. I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
be
here.
Yes, because you have so much insight and the perfect spirit for things like this, because we can tell that it's truly genuine, your heart and what God has been doing in you. And you really want to see other people soar and succeed in their
Hmm.
life. So I'm looking forward to all the things that are in store and just seeing you blossom from
Thank you.
just what you have done into the fullness of who God has made you as a woman of God, and that sister that people can lean on and hear from and receive, encouragement from. So
Hmm.
I'm excited. So
I
excited.
think, and you know what, I appreciate you saying that, and that's likewise, because you have the same spirit as well.
Mm.
um and there were many days and many mornings that you were saying, you know what, I hear the Lord say, and you would just go right in. I'd be in the car trying to get to work, like, okay, all right, it's like, okay, I gotta go to work. And so I appreciate those days, and I appreciate even behind me, standing behind me and saying, no, we got to get this done. No, don't you just really. And I know sometimes that business and friendships can mix up and
Mhm.
misunderstandings can happen. And I'm just glad that that didn't wasn't one of those things. I felt like the enemy, we just being transparent. But I'm really glad about that, and that we're able to do both. And everybody
Yeah.
can't do both, but we can do both. And you encouraged me the other day, and you said, sis, I just want to check on you, and this is what I see in my spirit. And I was like, okay, what you see in your spirit? And you're just like, I see you speaking more and doing more. And I had been telling the Lord, I was like, I want to start getting back on panels and doing things. And I was like, I really need to start recording myself and doing more original content, and kind of, still do reels, but kind of start gearing away from that. So when you came and you said that, I was like, okay, God, so that's why you have to have people who hear from God, and
Mhm.
have people that, that are in right standing, so that whenever you're going through, you didn't know. Like I said, we just finally catching up, because our lives is just like, we're busy, but God placed me on your heart, and then you came back and you gave me that, and I was just like, okay, that was confirmation. So I appreciate that. I
Of
appreciate that.
course, of course, all day, every day. My thing is, if we're friends, we're friends. You're supposed
Hmm.
to have your friend's heart. You're supposed to have your friend's back to the best of your ability, and you are supposed to hold your friends down. And
Absolutely.
and every person should want the best for somebody else, and that's what I want
Mhm.
for my friends. I want to see them
You
soar.
do.
Yes, I want to.
You
I'm
do.
like, okay, when we building the plane, I'm gonna draw it out right now, sis. I got the wings already planned out. All we need
You
is the
do.
nose, and we got to get the engine. We're going to get it off Facebook
Yeah,
Market, but we're going to have
you
an
do.
engine.
You're like, okay, give me a time frame. I'm gonna give you X amount of days, and then we're gonna go back. I'm gonna give you this, and then we're gonna go back and I'm like,
And
okay,
then I'll be like, I
okay.
think it's ready to fly. We gonna try it out. If it don't make it, we gonna try again.
We're gonna try it again. We're gonna build it back up. We're gonna try it one more time.
But that's what it takes. And God is just using us as his hands and feet.
Mhm.
So whoever we're with, wherever we serve, whatever we do, it is all about being God's hands and feet. I have to be
Yeah.
God's hands and feet in your life. I have to
Mm-hmm.
use my gifts and my talents to be God's hands and feet in your life. You have to do the same for me. We all have to do that for each other.
Right.
And that looks different all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You supported my business with one of your
Mm-hmm.
projects at a time when we really needed that.
Mm-hmm.
God used your business to support my business. So, it's all about supporting one another in the best way that we can and doing
Mm-hmm.
right by each other. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it really is. And so I'm just grateful for what God is doing and how he is giving us the grace to navigate new seasons and
Yes.
to remain in the right posture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think people that are watching can take something from this. And no matter what, if they have one friend, two friends, they will be able to apply something. And it's a learning curve for everyone. And I just feel like more conversations are needed because it's a safe space. And
Amen.
so it allows people to open up and to be able to share, and that goes hand in hand of what I'm working on, because we need a place to be able to talk about these things because it's so relevant now, and you hear about it, you see about it, all the time on social media, and so having a platform that people can go and open up and talk about things, whether it's good or bad, whether it's I'm up this week, I'm down this week, I don't have any friends, be my friend or be my accountability partner, or be my prayer partner, whatever it is that you can use these platforms in this time to pour into people, even just for an hour. Sometimes that could be enough to get someone through the week. It could be a replay that could be shared that can encourage and motivate and uplift and inspire and touch many that may not have had anyone to speak into their lives in years.
Mhm.
And so we have to make sure that even with these platforms like this, we take that opportunity. We don't look at numbers, because if it's just that one, then you've done what God has told you to do. And so every soul matters. And we don't need a large number. We're thankful for the one,
Mm.
right? And so we don't know who that one is. And I always say it, I'm gonna continue to say it as long as I live. You don't know who that one is. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know what seed you sown when you open your mouth and you've been obedient, even just like tonight, and bringing navigating new seasons on the platform. You don't know who's gonna pour back into you. You don't know what millionaire, billionaire that want to write off something and bless this whole thing. This may be traveling. This may be a podcast all around the world. Because the marketplace isn't just for a certain group of people. The marketplace is humongous. And right now it's saturated. It's everybody's own. And so I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how many houses you own. If you don't have God and you don't have a solid foundation, you're not happy.
Mm.
So, yeah, part
My
two.
part two, part three, part four, part five. I
Absolutely.
love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, sis, for taking the
Thank
time
you.
out of your busy schedule to share on the platform with our viewers and those who are going to watch the replay. I'm just looking
Mhm.
forward to all of the new things that are coming from you, Donna, and
Thank you.
I just can't wait to see it. I mean, springing forth. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. So, thank you so much
Yes.
for being with me, and I will see you backstage.
All
All
right. Thank
right.
you for having me.
Love you so much.
Love you
All
too.
right, everybody. So, we are just excited. I'm telling you, today was awesome. Tonight was everything. So, thank you for being with us. Listen, if you want to check out Donna, she is on social media at Mrs. Hair Today, and you can check her out on her website at donnaknaturals.com, and she will be more than happy to allow you to see some of her products and things of that nature. You can order her products. I love her shea butter, all the items that she has. I love it, and my hair always feels amazing when I use her products. So you guys got to go check her out. Listen, about media or marketing or even producing your own show or learning graphics, building content, all of that. I am a strategist, I am a trainer, and I do have a media company. So I would love to support you. Just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you about some of your projects. And if you know anyone who is on a media ministry team, this is the latest initiative that God has given me. Church Media Team Solutions. And this is where we have built a suite of services to equip churches and para ministry media teams with modern media, communications, and creative strategies that strengthen outreach and elevate excellence in ministry. So I'm excited to be offering team training sessions, both in person and virtual. Also excited to offer audits. So that way, if you say, hey, we just want you to take a look at our website. We want you to take a look at our content. We want you to take a look at our structure and let us know what we need to do. That is what the audit is all about. And then keynote presentations, if you're having a gathering, a conference with other churches, or you just want to have a keynote for your group, I'd be more than happy to come. We do have a free training coming up on April 21st at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can go to mymediaministry.net to learn more about it, register so you can be a part of that free training. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me on Jessica Grace Live. We will be back with another episode very soon, so stay tuned. God bless.